this is part of the National Seminar Series. This is organised by supported by the National Forum for Enhancement of Teaching and Learning in Higher Education. And what the specific theme we're looking at today is teaching for transitions, and demonstrating the value of information literacy to staff and students. I'm just going to give a very brief introduction to the National Forum and some thoughts on the seminar today. Some people are kind of pedantic about these things. I normally put slides up in Scribd for anything I'm talking about, or I've been trying to get into the habit of it. So if you just go to scribd.com/JJC O'Neill, you'll get the slides that I'm using here, but there aren't very many, so it's you might spend more time looking at it than I actually spend speaking. This is a brief overview of what the National Forum is. It's a sectoral network established to enhance teaching and learning in Irish higher education. You can see some of the key buzzwords attached to the forum around championing, inspiring, developing, mapping, building, promoting, enabling, and researching. And critically, the purpose of the National Forum is to transcend collaboration and competition to try and raise national standards. And this is so it can promote innovative and fresh thinking. It can move from exemplars all the way up to national frameworks and engage in discrete projects all the way through to trying to participate and promote comprehensive change. And behind all this is the idea of establishing Ireland as a place where higher education, teaching and learning is known to be excellent and held up as an international role model. If you want to find out more, you can go to the teachingandlearning.ie website. It has its own Twitter account at @forumtl, and you can get news from it on funding, fellowships, report and events. So we obviously would like to thank the National Forum for supporting today's seminar. To start off with, because you always have to do something interesting when you're starting these things, this is Bellerophon riding the Pegasus. It's a painting by Rubens in the Musée Bonnat in Bayonne in France. And the significance of this is Bellerophon is one of the first references in the Iliad in Book 6 to writing. Because remember, the Iliad that Homer wrote down is coming at the end of an oral cultural transition into literary, so it's pre-literate to literate society. And the Bellerophon reference is one of these few mentions of writing that's in it. And it talks about deadly symbols being carried around by Bellerophon in a folded tablet, and he carries them from Argos to Lycia. And there is an interesting metaphor behind this, though I don't want to overplay it. Bellerophon basically can't read, and Bellerophon is carrying around an instruction to kill him to various people, and he goes as a guest, and of course they read it, and by the time they've read it, because they can't read either, they have to find someone who can read for them, because we're in this dawn of information literacy, just to throw in buzzword again. You have this problem that they've had him as a guest in their house and they can't kill him. And in the end they tell him to catch the Pegasus, which is the winged horse, you'd have all heard that, which he does, kill the chimera, which is what Rubens is painting here. And of course, Bellerophon becomes too full of himself and decides that he's going to go and join the gods in Mount Olympus. What do? But they cast him down, and he ends up sort of living out the rest of his life as a beggar, all because he never learned to read, basically, or he didn't improve his information literacy skills. But there is, it's a critical phase in development of information literacy in that broader sense, where you see all these problems around in the brief references you get in early texts at this state, where writing has a magical quality. It's not very well understood. Early literacy itself is very unstructured, and it brings an advent of significant cultural change, where all that organizational capacity and everything else that comes with literacy. So there are some echoes and resonances of what we're looking at. If you think of it in terms of it's a grand metaphor for failure to grasp the value of information literacy and to grasp the potential of things like digital literacy and the social media platforms and everything else that are offering a lot of potential today for further development. The forum theme itself today obviously is looking at teaching for transitions, whether that's from school or further education to college, from undergraduate to postgraduate, college to work back to college. It's another transition. And a lot of that's around the themes around acquiring core information literacy skills that support learners during transitions. And so today is really about strategies and best practice. You can see on your program various people that are talking. I'm not going to waste too much time introducing them because Philip had already ran over by about 8 or 9 minutes before we started. But if you want to think of some key outcomes to keep in mind, learning outcomes, of course, of today, transitions are a process, they're never an event. Moving from pre-literacy to literacy stages isn't an overnight event. It's a long-term process. And always, if you think of these things as a process, it helps you start mapping out how you go about doing it rather than trying to force everything into a single event. There's the broader library dynamic of moving from lending to learning. And you can see that here. I think Jerry's going to talk a little bit about contributions. Philip, I'm sure you've heard, some of you will have heard talking about this before. Developing things like learn to learn modules and other things where the library is a dynamic element of the learning environment rather than simply being this lending facility that sits somewhere in the building. And behind all this, and this is really where my role interfaces with it, information literacy is a core of lifelong learning. The more you promote information literacy, the more you promote people's capacity to continue learning themselves as they learn how to go and source information, source other skills, and source comparanda and other authentic elements of learning that they need to go and find. And so that's where I'm going to stop today, just so we can keep moving with the programme.